Am I the asshole for leaving a family gathering and taking the cake with me after getting my feelings hurt? I, 27F, hit 1 year sober, from alcohol, at the beginning of the year. This was a huge accomplishment for me. It was bigger to me than finishing college. I told my family that next time we were together for family dinner I had something to celebrate. This all happened at my mom's. The kids were playing and the adults were hanging out. I took the moment to share that I'd reached 1 year sober and how good I felt about it. They went with, "Oh, that's what you were talking about," and, "Has it been a year already?" I am embarrassed to admit I hoped someone would say they're proud of me. My brother-in-law Steve looked at my sister and they both said, "Well," at the same time, and she said, "Since we're all here, niece just got into a specific gymnastics thing. It's been a long road but she did it." Steve popped some wine they'd brought and started giving everyone glasses, cups. He made eye contact with me and his face fell. I had this gnawing feeling so got up from the table. I took a walk. I tried to get through the moment mentally so I could be present for my niece to celebrate her success. But when I got back to the house my sister asked me why I left without saying anything. I said I needed a minute to myself. She looked at me funny and said, "Okay." I said I'd shared something I was very proud of and she bulldozed over it. My mom put her hand up and asked me what my news was. I said that I told them. I hit 1 year sober. Mom said my generation always wanted praise for doing the bare minimum. That wasn't an accomplishment, it was just what I needed to do, like graduating high school. I tried to make it through to dinner but found myself just not in the mood anymore. I decided to go home. Here is the direct thing I am being called a butthead for. ID brought a small berry chantilly cake, my favorite, to share after dinner. It was the thing I decided I earned. The kids had definitely seen it. On my way out I decided to take it home with me. I guess when they realized the cake wasn't in the garage fridge anymore, my sister called to ask me why I took it. I said I did because it was my cake to celebrate my accomplishment. She said, word for word, "Are you fucking serious? Oh my god Emma, grow up. You are such a fucking baby." My mom later texted me directly to tell me how disappointed she was that I threw a tantrum because my niece got more attention than me. I don't think her read of what happened is right, but that is why I am asking you guys. Am I the asshole because I took home the cake in the end? Was that really childish of me, considering the kids saw it and then didn't get any? As I was putting on my shoes to leave, Steve found me and directly apologized and said that he was completely oblivious in the moment. I know he did not do anything to intentionally hurt me. They had wine, which naturally excluded you, right after you told them your good news. I am glad you took the cake. Not the asshole. Mom, if you actually think that the reason I'm upset is because niece had something to celebrate, then you are not only oblivious but also a huge asshole, and if anyone is disappointed it's me being disappointed in you. I'm super happy for niece. But all of the rest of you adults in the room were dismissive and really shitty, and I'm under no obligation to put up with your bullshit. At least Steve had the decency to apologize for being so oblivious and insensitive. You clearly have no excuse, nor are you excused. I'm really sorry if I don't respond to anyone's questions. I'm reading your comments and people telling me they're proud of me is making me cry really bad. I thought everyone was going to tell me I'm a big fucking dumb loser because I took the cake. Not the asshole. Not at all. Let them be mad. I would tell Mom though. Mom, when you dismissed me at dinner, you really hurt me. It has not been easy for me to be sober for a whole year. Whether you understand it or not, it was clearly something that was important to me and you tried to make me feel stupid for it. It is still bugging me, so I wanted to tell you so I can stop being angry at you for being so uncaring. Quote, good for you. And that cake sounds delicious. Birthday cake. Op, I am not a recovering alcoholic but my father is and so is my wife. I've seen their struggles with alcoholism. 1 year is a huge accomplishment and I want you to know that this internet stranger is proud of you. Good job Op. If you are serious about staying sober, please go to find a sponsor and do the steps. You are worth it. Would I be the asshole if I tell my wedding planner friend what her assistant did at my wedding? Hey y'all. Throwaway so I'ma try to be quick with here. I am 27F and married my best friend 28M about a month ago. One of my good friends is a wedding planner and I used her company for the coordinating. She was a guest at the wedding but had 3 other people from her company work with my husband and they were amazing. The whole wedding went perfectly. Not a single complaint about the job the company did. One of the assistants was this guy who looked to be about my age. I didn't give it much thought. This past weekend, I hung out with my friend Clara, 25F. This is the first time we are seeing each other since my wedding. Clara told me a funny story about my wedding. She said a few days after my wedding she received an Instagram follow and message from someone she didn't know. The gist of the message was that it was from the assistant coordinator at my wedding. He pretty much said that he was working and couldn't say anything, but he noticed her at the wedding and thought she was really beautiful and he wanted to ask her on a date. She asked how he found her and he, proudly, said that he noticed her, looked up the seating chart of the table she was seated at for dinner, and looked up every girl at the table until he found her. She said she wasn't comfortable with that and blocked him. She told me it was funny in hindsight, but at the time she was a little uncomfy. Clara did emphasize to me she didn't think it was a big deal. Would I be an asshole if I told my wedding planner friend about what happened? She will most likely report him to the head of the company and maybe he will or maybe he won't be fired. I don't know if I'm being vindictive or not. It doesn't sit right that we paid a guy to do a job and he ended up stalking and DMing my friend. Not the asshole, and a lot of people would have an issue with a stranger using his company to find your private, personal information. Dude could have walked up and asked at the end of the wedding to be less creepy but decided to illegally get a woman's information instead. Not the asshole. He at the very least needs to be told this isn't acceptable to do. Who knows if the company has already had other problems with him. If this is the first, they may just give him a reprimand. But if not the first, it's good info for them to have. Not the asshole, and frankly, he needs to be reported. What if he was a dangerous individual and he did that? This was a serious breach of trust and privacy, and your guests expected to feel safe, not chatted up by some creepy guy after the wedding. YWNBTA. Your friend needs to know her employee, coworker, is using his role in the company to approach attendees. YWNBTA. You act like this at work and you should expect there to be serious repercussions. YWNBTA. He pretty much stalked your friend. That is strange all on its own. That he did it using company information? I would say at the very least that's a write-up and possible firing offense. He put your friend's company at legal risk with his actions. Your friend deserves to know what kind of person works for her and the level of risk he opens the company up to. Am I the asshole for getting my girlfriend a birthday gift she hates? I feel like this is kinda overreacting, but maybe I'm just wrong. My girlfriend's 26th birthday was coming up and I wanted to get her something really nice. I've noticed throughout our whole relationship that she does her makeup on the floor in front of a mirror and it always looks so uncomfortable. She has complained of it several times, so I decided it would be a great idea to get her a vanity set. I did some research and I found a couple she would like, but I knew she was picky and so I asked her if she was planning on buying a vanity set ever. She showed me the vanity set she wanted and I made sure to add that set to my Amazon list. A few months went by and I was ready to buy the set, but I come to find out that it was sold out. I desperately looked at other sites and the manufacturer, but the set would not come for over a month after her birthday. Keep in mind that I decided to buy it a month before, so it was not last minute. I still felt bad and so I decided to spend some more time researching what set to buy. I finally came across one that matched the style and color of other furniture that she had purchased, and it was more expensive than the one she wanted, so I bought it thinking she'd like it even if it was the one she didn't ask for. I was wrong. My girlfriend's birthday finally comes around and she goes off to her sister's while I spend 2 hours building this set right after work. When she finally comes home and I show it to her, I could clearly tell something was wrong. She was quiet and didn't seem too happy. She then started bawling her eyes out, saying that she hates it because it wasn't the one she wanted. I explained to her that I couldn't get the one she wanted yet, but if she didn't like it that much I could wait for it to come back and buy it and sell the one I just bought it. That only made her even more mad and upset. She then went on a rant about how she hates birthdays and that I shouldn't have gotten her anything. Again, this vanity set matches everything else she likes and it wasn't some cheap set. She told me to simply sell the set and keep the money because she does not want anything from me on her birthday. Am I the asshole for getting her the wrong set? Not the asshole. Her reaction is ridiculous, rude and so ungrateful. This is not how a mature adult behaves upon receiving a gift they don't love. I suppose I could understand her feeling disappointed, inside her head, that it wasn't the exact one she wanted, but then you offered to get that one and that still was good enough? She's the asshole here. Talk to her and find out if something else is going on. There is more to this Z. Accidental ta. If someone shows you a picture of what they want, get exactly that. How would you feel if you ask for an Xbox and receive a PlayStation instead? If we follow your logic, they're both gaming consoles and the PlayStation is more expensive, so you should be happy, right? But it's just not what you asked for. I bet she would have been happy with a card with a photo of the vanity saying it will arrive soon. Throw in a nice dinner, a massage, and you got yourself a happy girlfriend. Edit. Someone taught me everyone sucks here means everyone sucks here, and that's def the case here. Thanks stranger, thumbs up. Is there a photo for comparison? Sometimes we think it looks similar, but until we see it, we can't really be sure what you see is what we see. Just saying, but you should ask her what's up. But I do know people who are fixated on that specific thing. It cannot be a variation. It's had to be that exact thing. Yes, it's the way their mind works. Why did it have to be delivered by her birthday? You could have printed the purchase email and put it in a box all wrapped up and shit. She then went on a rant about how she hates birthdays and that I shouldn't have gotten her anything. Info. I'd be surprised if this is just about you. If it is massive overreaction, however, the response about birthdays and not this specific birthday makes me think this is part of a larger issue. Best to take a breather and come together later to discuss calmly if possible. She may be taking out unresolved past emotions on you. Are you close with any of her old friends? They may have useful advice and/or context for the freakout. Am I the asshole for not forcing this yoga student into a different mat spot? I have been teaching a yoga class at my local community center for about a year. Dave has been coming for about 6 months. Dave isn't the most in shape guy, but he's always been very kind to me and does his best with the workouts. As I learned in my teacher training, I advise my students that if they need a break to practice their ujjayi breath with their head above their heart, not lying down, to avoid feeling dizzy. Dave often takes these breaks, sitting in sukhasana until he feels ready to rejoin the class. He also always sits in the back, which is normal for my regular students to have a preferred mat location. The way that my class is set up is staggered rows, so you are not directly behind or next to anyone, but you are directly behind the person 2 rows ahead of you. The woman sitting 2 rows directly ahead of Dave approached me after class yesterday and said that she felt uncomfortable during class because Dave kept stopping to stare at her butt. She said that he should not be allowed back or written up. We don't have a write-up system, this isn't school. I explained what I said at the start of class, about resting in sukhasana, and recommended that if she returned she take a place at the back of the room so that no one could observe her posterior. She seemed a little annoyed, but thanked me coldly and left. My boss gave me a call today and said that I dealt with this complaint wrong and that I'm creating an unsafe space for women. She said that I should have called her, my boss, and that Dave should no longer be allowed at the back of the class. I'm fairly shocked at my boss's conclusion, because I don't think it's fair to dictate where a client sits based on one complaint, unsubstantiated too. I face the front of the classroom and have never observed this. And even if he was staring straight ahead of him, at her butt, I think that's a reasonable place for someone to look if they feel dizzy closing their eyes. I asked my boss if there was any other details that the woman added when they talked, and she was a bit cagey but said there wasn't. Not the asshole. Doesn't sound like Dave is doing anything wrong and you did the right thing to defend him. Quite bluntly, your boss sucks. Catering to the squeaky wheel. Makes me wonder if the complainer has a persecution complex or something similar. Note to self. Do not ever join a co-ed yoga class. Not the asshole. Given that Dave has been a regular for 6 months and there's been no complaints until now, I'm guessing it was a misunderstanding and the woman assumed his rest breaks were something inappropriate. Now if this happened again, I feel like I'd not allow him in the class anymore. If he's someone who needs regular breaks, I don't blame him for sitting in the back. I'd probably do the same so I don't call too much attention to myself when I rest. Holy crap. Not the asshole. I do yoga in a very busy studio with the same setup. If no one was allowed to look at anyone else's butt, we wouldn't have a class. Your boss is kinda. I only have bad words. Not the asshole. It is unreasonable for the student to try and restrict Dave's access to the class without trying anything, like moving to the back, to address why she is feeling uncomfortable. I am a woman and if something is happening that makes me uncomfortable, I change my own situation to make myself feel better rather than trying to force the world to adapt to my wants, needs. I know yoga class can feel very exposing to some people with how the body is displayed in some positions, but as you mentioned, she can move so she's less visible. I think your boss is just trying to avoid conflict by doing what this woman wants, whereas you are trying to address the needs of all your students. Not the asshole. Based on your description, it seems pretty unlikely Dave was staring at her ass. In small workout rooms, especially crowded ones, it's easy to get paranoid that people are staring at you, and I'm pretty sure that's most often not the case. Good for you for standing up for Dave. This reminds me of my own recent situation. I'm a woman and I was in a weight class. I was watching myself in the mirror while doing sumo squats to monitor my form. Yet, the woman in front of me kept glaring at me like she thought I was looking at her. If you're that self-conscious that people are looking at you, it probably means you aren't focused enough on your own workout. People need to realize the world generally doesn't revolve around them rolling on the floor laughing.